All right, good morning, everyone. We have a trade this morning in the regular trading hours. I'm currently short from 17,527 on Nasdaq. So the idea here is that price is not going to get above that smaller red line I have drawn towards the middle of my screen, roughly around 17,565. So I'm willing to give it room all the way up to there. And I'm expecting around 10 a.m. to provide a move lower. So that's why you see me scaling in little by little with these micros. So now I'm short roughly one full-size contract with these micros. And I'm expecting price to go down there to the sell side at 17,476s and then below that 464s. So a pretty large trade. And then I'm looking to get some full-size Nasdaq contracts on the way down as well. So I see that kind of structure break, that small red line I have right there. And I want to see it respect that high right there. I want to see this candle start to dive lower. And I'll be very strict. As you can see, it didn't, so I took it off for around break even, and then I re-enter higher at 38 right there for two full-size contracts, as well as my micros I have on. And the goal is to hold all these down into new lows. I scaled those full-size contracts right there. I want to see if it wants to touch that top blue line I have. Again, that top red line around 65 or 64 should not get broken. So I'm still holding those micros. I re-enter at kind of a worse price on my full-size contracts again right here. And I notice that I get in kind of at a low on this range we're developing. But we're in 10 o'clock, so I want to see price start to dive towards that low. And I expect a speed bump in this gray box at the bottom right here. So it's okay if it reacts off that. I just don't want to see it get back to test that high. So I took the profit on those two full-size contracts to cover the, I think I took like a small loss when I got it on the first time. So those are back at break even. I still have these micros on that I'm planning to hold. Scale out of 1 right there. And then I want to add more when it gets back to the high, because see it pop off that low. I think that this is kind of a trap for anyone buying. And then it's also to get these shorts out of their position. So I believe this move up will be reversed. And I don't want to see the high at the 17,552 is broken. So I think that high should get respected. So I think my stop should be okay right around that area. So I took 1 off on those micros, or 2 off on those micros. I'm going to look to try to add back to, so I'm short 10 again on a move up. But I want to see it price into that gray box up there before I add again. So right there, we're getting that touches in those boxes right there. So my micros are sitting around break even right now. All right, I add back to a full size. I like that failure at that high. And now I'm expecting price to dive to the lows right here and get really large down close candles. So I'm looking for an entry for my full size contracts. That should be part of a one-sided move. So as soon as I get in them, they should be going into profit. So we're going to watch that high on that wick right there. Price should not close above that. So I hold off on selling my Nasdaq contracts because that price got above that blue line and closed above it. I want to see what it does there. It breaches that lower time frame high we made and then immediately fails. We're just waiting for the trend to flip bearish before I get in some full-size contracts. I believe my micros are fine. I don't mind holding those while we're still retracing. But when I get on my full-size contracts, I want to be part of the move lower. And right now we're kind of just developing a smaller time frame range right here. So I want to see gaps start to open lower. I want to see those two gray lines. I want to see price stay below that. I want to see it aim for that red line I extended out. So there we go. That's my confirmation that we're in a downtrend again. So I'm going to look to add. So we're short two. Got a terrible entry right there. I was very late with that. So I have to sit through this pullback now because I was a little late to enter on that short. So I just want to see those gray lines respected, which it looks like they are. So I'm confident in this short position. I don't mind sitting here in some drawdown on these full-size contracts because I know ultimately price is going to reprice lower down to that purple box. And so right here, as I see it start to come back, I believe I move my stop to break even once it leaves this area again. And that's just me becoming impatient with this trade. Like I said, when I got in these full-size contracts, I don't want to see blue candles painting against me. So if it does another dive down, I'm going to move my stop to break even. So there's our dive lower right there. Now I don't want to see price return at all. I want to see it aim for those lows. So right there, I get my stop tagged on the high of that wick, which is frustrating. But I still have my micros on, so, you know, I paid for my loss that I sustained earlier, so it's basically risk-free. And unfortunately, I didn't get to hold those full size into this low. But I still was able to hold on to those micros. And then you're just going to watch me scale out of them as we continue trade into new lows. And I'm just taking profits whenever price prints to new lows. And then the last target I have is the touch of that purple box right there at around 66s. Yeah, so I got filled at 68 right there on that last move down. And that's it for today. The profit was roughly around 900 for that trade, even with getting stopped out on those full-size contracts for break even. So not a bad morning.